Just before I begin my comments, just a word of sincere gratitude to being with you. I just hope that you know the tremendous joy that I have each year. It's become a great tradition for me and a foundation where I am inspired by your presence that really helps me as I prepare for the upcoming school year. So I thank you. Upon my own reflection on the bishop's beautiful words and upon looking on the title of this topic of pastor and administrator and teacher, I really thought of the parable of the prodigal son. Because to me, the father really summarizes those three areas of priesthood and our presence in the school. The father really does summarize exactly what Bishop was speaking of. Because we see that the father leaves the celebration, right? He went out to speak to the elder son, and there was great joy in this great celebration, but he pauses and pleads with his son to join in that celebration. We as administrators, we as priests, we can't just keep dusting off the trophies. We always have to look at what can we do better? What can we do more? What are the things that we struggle with? What are some of the things that we need to strengthen in our schools? So often we are under the temptation that we are doing maintenance rather than mission. So the elder son really looks at his brother, right? He looks at him with anger and jealousy. So the father comes out to kind of show that his heart is not divided, that his love is equal. The older son comes to the conclusion that he is less loved. Working with young people, that really does summarize what they're going through. All of the difficulties, or all of the temptations, all of the struggles that we deal with on a priestly level in dealing with the young people. It really comes down to the fact that they are unable to accept and believe and know that they are truly loved by God. And it is our role, it's our responsibility to make that known. It really is the beauty of our Catholic schools. For us that attended it, that we were able to pinpoint that moment when we experienced the mercy and the compassion and the love of Jesus Christ. That we are able to, as my valedictorian said at graduation this year, I have come to know him and I have come to love him. That is the purpose, that is the mission of our Catholic schools. And it is our responsibility to be used as the instrument to bring that love. In order for us to do that, our hearts too can't be undivided. That we have to treat each and every student equally, and we have to love each and every student. As St. John Bosco would say, right, it's not enough to love the young, but the young need to know that they are loved. And it's easy for us to love the student who does everything right, the student who's the great athlete, the student who's the perfect at all of the academics, the student who says that they want to be a priest. It's easy to love those students. It's more difficult to love the ones who always find themselves in trouble, who always are struggling, who you just don't know if they're going to make it or not. We have to rid our schools from that comparison, because we know for God there is no comparison. And that's hard to comprehend because we live in a world and a society of comparisons. We're only as good as the other person. We're only as smart as the other person. We're only as successful as the other person. When I was in the parish, we would have a Spanish mass, and if I was away on vacation, I would make sure that I got a priest who was a lot worse than I was in Spanish, because at least the people would say, Father Kuroly's pretty bad, but at least we don't have to listen to this guy every week. But we know whenever there is comparison, it is going to lead to disappointment and sorrow. And so we have a responsibility as priests where our hearts are not divided. And therefore we rid our schools of that comparison. But when we do, then we will have that joy. Because ultimately, yes, it's still school, but our Catholic schools must be a place of joy. But there is nothing more miserable in life than a miserable Christian. And so we bring that joy into the hearts of our young people. We always speak about our spiritual director in the seminary. He had no favorites. He had no of his boys, as we used to say. That's not true. We were all his favorites because he took the time and the energy to make us feel special, to make us feel loved. And that is what we are to do for our people, for our students. We know this isn't the only time that the father goes out and searches the son. It says that the other son, while he, the younger son, was still a long way off, his father caught sight of him. The father left home to find the son. Let that sink in for a moment. Long are the days of us staying in our office with a sign that says office hours, waiting for students to come and speak to us. Long are the days when we say, well, they know that I'm available if they need me. The father leaves the home. Jeremiah the prophet says, right, in your mother's womb, I knew you. How well do we know our students? Do we really, truly know them? In order for us to come to know them, we really do need to listen to them. The USCCB just put out a document on youth ministry, listen, teach, and send. Very first requirement is that we actually listen to what is going on in the lives of our students so that we can come to truly and really know them. We have it wrong. Oftentimes, as priests, we are proactive. We resolve situations and problems when they come to us, when in reality, we are to be reactive. St. John Bosco's preventive system. And although I quote him often, I'm not a Salesian, I'm a diocesan priest, but I have the heart of a Salesian. Perhaps one of the more embarrassing moments that I had as rector was one of the students who was really struggling, and we met as an administration and as faculty, and we were going to ask him to leave. One of the teachers says, yeah, no, I feel bad for him. You know, his mother passed away when he was in 5th grade. I had no idea. Changed everything. Why didn't I know? I didn't take the time to listen, to get to know. We need to know our students. We need to know them well. We also need to get out of the office and out of behind the desk, because it's also the image of God. We represent God our Father to our young people. And so if we just stay in our offices doing nothing, so we are portraying a God who stays at home, doesn't move, and expects us to come to him. When in reality, we know that we have a God who leaves his house, who searches for us until he finds us. And so we need to be part of our students' lives. We need to get out of our own comfort zone so that we are part and listen to them and speak to them. Whether it's the practical things of just being in the cafeteria, whether it's just having lunch with them, whether it's going to the sports games, whatever it is, the ministry of presence, of being there, is so crucial. We know that once the son is found, there's the great celebration. And here we once again recognize the mission of our Catholic schools, that not only are they to have an encounter with Jesus Christ, but to have an experience of the church. The celebration is incomplete until the brothers come together. St. Paul often says, right, when one member of our community rejoices and celebrates, the entire community celebrates. That's the community, that's the family, that's the church, That's what we ask our students to experience in our Catholic schools. But we are here as we begin this time together to do exactly that, to celebrate the students to whom we are privileged to serve, to celebrate Catholic schools. Thank you.